Hey, welcome back, YouTube channel watchers. Today we're looking at one of these NextGen batteries. It's a lithium ion. It's a lithium iron phosphate battery. And as you can see, this one is made up of rows and rows of smaller cells. We're starting to see, this one was a donor from Woody. He pulled a set of these out of a sailboat, a tartan sailboat. The owner, I think, owned them probably for 5 years. He enjoyed them, but eventually they died on him, and they died, in my opinion, probably prematurely, because I'm not positive that the owner, who was pretty savvy, he put together a lot of this himself, but I don't think he had his shunt wired quite correctly. And as a result, he tried to manage his battery bank with incomplete information. And as a result, I think he overcharged them, and I think he had a handful of times where he probably detrimentally discharged them. These batteries will cycle on and off. I mean, they have this BMS on board right here where they have a charge relay and a discharge relay to keep the battery protected. However, if the battery, say it discharges completely and then the relay opens and then you don't come back until spring, then in all probability that battery's going to sit there dead that entire time, and there will probably be some cell damage from that, I would think. So anyhow, that's the limitation on some of these. They're not modular like a prismatic where you actually have a brick of cells. These cells are all made up of these little individual, they're basically the same size like a D battery, a little bit larger than that. And then they're wired up in a series configuration. You have on this side you have a positive plate and a negative plate, and then it's connected positive to negative in the back here. It's just how they're stacked. It's a pretty simple unit. It's pretty robust. This is probably an $800 battery, maybe $1,000, brand spanking new. And they now make them in 100 amps, so they're getting ever more power out of the individual cells. But yeah, this is a common attraction. A lot of people like the drop-in battery because this will fit in the same spot as the original battery. You don't have to have a separate BMS, things like that. One of the things I've seen with those types of batteries, some of them batteries actually has an on-off switch, so you can actually power down the battery completely. I think the Trillium has that, and I like that feature. That way you can shut the whole battery off while you're making your connections, and then turn the battery on, and it should be ready to go. There's also, they're kind of dumb. This thing doesn't tell you if there's a fault. It doesn't tell you if they're getting low on power or anything like that. You can't Bluetooth communicate with it. I think those are the things that you'll start seeing in newer batteries. We're just getting started in the market with these batteries. They're getting more complicated, but better all at the same time. So they're still really expensive, but I think they're a great addition to a boat if you approach it with a complete plan on how you're going to take care of it. And I think the other key to it is, for a long life, is to not charge them all the way up to 14.6. Live at 14.3, 14.4, and that equates to about 80 to 85% fully charged. And then you discharge them down to 20% or so. If you stay in that range, you will have batteries that will last forever in a fairly maintenance-free environment. These also don't like cold, so don't let them freeze. You don't want to have them outside. You want to have them on an interior application where you can at least keep them kind of above freezing. So, well, that is the NextGen lithium-ion battery, and thanks for watching.
Okay, I just couldn't leave this thing alone after we tore it apart. We shot that quick video. This one cell really is just completely shorted out, and we still don't know what caused the damage. We suspect after the detrimental discharge and then the BMS leaving these things sit, we don't know. We think the owner let it sit for a long time. Probably got one of these to a level where it wouldn't recharge. We're going to play with those, but really interesting. You take this little plate off of here, and these cells are just screwed in, and so you can just take them out. Built really well. And so if we have, I think Woody has some of these other batteries, I think we could go through, and if it's not a problem with the BMS, we could just swap out some of the cells and probably have a good working battery. Obviously, once you cut the case open, there's really no putting her back together. But cool little cells. I'm going to do a load test on these and see, because these are 5-year-old batteries. I want to know those good cells, what kind of life do they still have in them? What kind of capacity? So we're going to go into the lab and check it out. Okay, so I had to figure out capacity before I could run the discharge machine. So if this was 80 amp hours rated, and then we take this, and each of these 4 packs then that were in series would have to be 80 amp hours. So these 16 cells would be 80 amp hours at 3.3 volts. So we divide that by the 16 cells, and each of these should be about 5 amp hours. So let's go to the shop over here and figure out how much capacity they really have. So here it is. We decided to pop it up to a it came out at 3.3 volts, and we plugged it in and took it up to 365, 37. Sorry, we used a little power supply to charge it up, and it appears to be full because we set it at 3.6. It took an amp, went to 3.7. It just tapered right off. So that battery was sitting basically at full capacity. So now what I'm going to do is take it over here and hook it up to the array load machine, and we're going to actually discharge this cell and see what kind of capacity it actually has. So we're going to run it down to about, I don't know, 2.8 volts or so, something like that, and just see what happens. I am going to run it. It's at 3.6 volts right now, so I'm going to set this thing up for a discharge. And so if it's 5 amp hours, if we did a full 1C rate in an hour, would be 5 amps. I'm going to try and let it run for a couple of hours. So we're going to take it to like 2.5 amps and see how close to 5 amp hours we have in this battery. There we go. We got it turned on, pulling out 1.997 amps. We'll watch the thing go down and we'll see how many amp hours it has when we come back in a couple hours. Okay, well, this is kind of cool. So I don't have any information on these cells other than, I mean, we determined it should be 5 amp hours to give that battery 80. You never know with these, with no markings, you know, what is its upper voltage, lower voltage. We just have it in about. And so using that and taking it down to 2.8 volts, 2.9, whatever I set it at, you know, when you get on the curves of these things with lithium, there's not a lot on the very bottom or top. So, but it was pretty cool. We got, out of 5, we got 3.6, 4.36. So, you know, we're looking at 87%. So, 3/4 of that battery was still in really good shape. So, anyways, fun things we do here at Marine Tech. Curious minds need to know. Thanks for watching.